Hey guys, welcome back to Dynasty Football Live. As always, I'm Byron. This is Manny. Today, we're bringing you something special. A lot of channels don't do their draft grades, but here at Dynasty Football Live, we dig a little deeper and we like to bring you how we feel they did in the NFL draft. So today, we are going to be discussing the AFC South grades. My favorite division. Obviously, I'm a Texans fan, so pretty pumped about this. How are you feeling about this, Manny?
Pretty good. I'm excited. I think the draft was so much fun, and I think now that we know what our team, especially you being a Texas fan, what you all did, really I think changed your team a lot. Like, I don't know if you expected your team to have this kind of. Obviously it's way too early. We don't know what these players are going to do. No one knows. For all we know, they're bust. Hopefully not. But as of right now, in my mind, y'all are winners. So great draft. So I'm excited to see what you think about all the other draft classes.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, we're going to get into these teams here. We're going to go ahead and start. Obviously, we want to let you guys know that we're going to be picking a few of the guys we feel that are dynasty relevant for you and also be, give me a little hint on where you might draft these guys, where we feel they're going to be falling. Keep in mind, a 12-person single QB PPR league. So, with that being said, let's roll into these grades, baby. Let's get it going.
All right.
Got the Jags up first. Look at the Jags. And obviously, Manny's going to take it away with his grades. How did the Jags do, Manny? How did they do?
Well, I think they did a great job. I think they had some definitely need at the line, which they addressed in the first round. It's kind of weird to see the Jags pick in the 27th overall. It's been a while since they've had any kind of success. So this is definitely something that's good for the team and very exciting. I think one of the picks that's a little bit underrated, I'm going to kind of go a little bit farther down the line, but for me, Parker Washington in the 6th round, I think considering they lost Jones to the Lions, I think I know he's a 6th round receiver, but I think he's going to make an impact in the slot. He is very, very good with his hands on the ball, and even though it's a 6th round pick, I think he could sneak as far as Dynasty draft. He could probably sneak into the 4th or 5th round, maybe a little bit sooner, depending what we see from him in training camp and preseason. But that's a name that I really, really like, even though it's farther down the board. Obviously, we have Tank Bigsby, but we'll see how he's used. I think that's kind of remains to be seen. He is a 3rd round, pick, so we may see a lot more from him, obviously, than Parker. But I really like Parker Washington right here, and a player that's kind of for me a little bit underrated. I don't know if you've actually, I'm sure you have, being from Houston, but Derek Parrish. He's listed here as a fullback. He played both ways for Houston. If you haven't seen him, go to Google, search him up. This dude is a freak. I don't know if he's going to be playing, offense.
I think he's going to play defense. I think they're going to bring him in as like an edge rusher is what they're talking about. So
No. I saw that, but the fact that he played both ways, hey, we might see him in some kind of goal line package, something. Awesome. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, if you haven't seen Google this guy's a freak. He's he reminds me of Mike Allstott, but cooler, if that's possible. He just looks so cool. Anyways, that's why I gave him a B. I think they addressed a lot of their needs. With the line, they got a little bit of insurance with ETN and Tank Bixby, and obviously they have Antonio Johnson. I think Antonio Johnson in our draft, I think we projected him going in the 3rd round. Maybe he kind of dropped a little bit lower than we thought. But yeah, Parker Washington. and Tank Bixby. I think they did a good job. They addressed a lot of the needs, and obviously they have a lot of picks. So
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah,
it's a B.
so yeah, Manny's got the B on there. Hey, I like it. I was a little bit higher on this draft, so for me, I really like that they invested into keeping T Law upright. They lost Jawan. I think Jawan Johnson, wasn't it Jawan Johnson, the tackle that left for the Steelers in free agency? So they replaced him with Anton Harrison, big guy out of Oklahoma. Can't really go wrong with those offensive tackles coming out of that school. Lane Johnson's one of those guys. Or not Orlando. Oh God, Orlando
Orlando
Brown
Brown.
Jr. Yeah, Orlando Brown Jr. Yeah, I was like, oh God, don't get me started on this guy. He was one of the guys that I wanted the Texans to take that fell a couple of years ago to the third round on an absolute steal. And guys like that, franchise tackles. So for me here, really like the Tank Bigsby. I like how they handcuffed a really electric running back in ETN with also an electric running back that was considered in some mock drafts coming out before this mock draft season came out. He was a top 3 pick. We're gonna find out, Tank, if you got it in the tank to be who we thought you were. So hopefully, Manny getting ETN in a recent trade. Clap, clap, clap. We gonna need to see some insurance there in case ETN goes down. So, another guy I really liked here. I was super high on Antonio Johnson, the safety out of Texas A&M. I thought they got tremendous value there in the 5th round, grabbing him. He was borderline, barely sneaking out of the 1st round in some of the mock drafts before this happened. But hey, I guess some GMs thought that they were going to wait on him. So also another guy that I really, really, really like that I feel is very underrated is the linebacker out of Florida, Ventrell Miller. Was super high on him coming in. I thought where he got picked was absolutely where he needed to go. A lot of people weren't as high on him as I was. I like the energy. If you know, we got Jonathan Grenard out of Florida a couple years ago. I thought he was a tremendous steal. So I think getting Ventrell Miller there in the 4th round was a steal for me. So, anyways, guys, hope you like my B+ grade I gave your Jaguars. They are definitely building some kind of team over there, man. They have a nice roster. So, with that being said, we're going to go on to our next team here in the AFC South. And it is the dreaded and my most hated team in the entire NFL. And, guys, it's the Indianapolis Colts here. So, Manny, let's see what you got here for your grade.
Well, I think the pick with Anthony Richardson kind of set the tone for the draft for them for me. I think their head coach being the offensive coordinator of the Eagles that worked with Hurts. He also worked with Herbert for the Chargers. And if they can do similar things that they did with Hurts, which is kind of simplifying the offense and being able to use his legs, which obviously he did, but he also developed the passing part of the game for Hurts. So if they can do something similar to that with Richardson, I think it's a home run. We'll see. That remains to be seen. I think Julius Brents out of Kansas State, 6'3", I think 190 pound corner. I mean, you don't see a lot of those in the draft, and I think that was probably one of my favorite picks. I don't know if that's something that a lot of y'all expected, corner from Kansas State. But he's a huge player, and I think he's going to make a impact right away. And Josh Downs in the 3rd round, I thought was kind of a surprise. We kind of thought he may go even in the 1st round, maybe late 1st round, 2nd round, and he ended up going in the 3rd. So that's great value there. I'm very, very excited about the Colts. Obviously, that's why I gave him an A grade. And I think Josh Downs, he kind of sneaking into the, as a 3rd rounder, he may not get a lot of draft capital from people drafting in Dynasty. So you might be able to get him maybe in the late 2nd, early 3rd, maybe because of the draft capital, but I really like what they did overall, and I think I'm really excited about Anthony Richardson's upside rushing the ball. So for me, it was an A for the Indianapolis Colts.
All right. Yeah. I thought they did similar. I was a little bit. I don't know, man. I'm not biased, guys. I'm not trying to be biased on my grades here because I'm a Texans fan and I don't like the Colts. I will tell you, for me, it was a B. I really liked Anthony Richardson. Okay, like if the Texans wouldn't have gotten C.J. Stroud, I was pro Anthony Richardson. This guy has a ceiling that it could blow through the roof. Like this quarterback here could be the same thing that the Ravens, went after a few years ago in Lamar Jackson, but bigger, stronger. Okay, we're looking at a quarterback that if he pans out and he's not as scary as everybody thinks he is, as far as not showing us what we needed to see in college as far as playing time and statistics, and we're going off measurables, this guy could be Mahomes on steroids for all we know. Okay, so for me, Anthony Richardson, A-plus pick at number 4. You got your quarterback. Great. Love it. In dynasty drafts, I've seen him going anywhere in the first round from the 5th pick to the 12th pick. However it is, your league is and, quarterback needy you are. But I would see definitely Anthony Richardson going in that range. For me, second guy off the board that I really like that they did get tremendous value in is Josh Downs out of North Carolina. A little bit undersized, but so was Zay Flowers. So was, Jordan Addison. We're looking at guys that are super tiny, but hopefully they can get it done. I liked how when he got drafted, he was one of the coolest draft stories I've seen as far as Josh Downs goes. They're super happy for that guy. Think they found their slot in Josh Downs there. Now you go back down a little bit further, Evan Hall. Okay, not Hall. Hull. Sorry, I always get this confused. But big bruiser. This guy reminds me a lot of a guy that was drafted in Tyler Algier last year. Yeah, he reminds me of Tyler Algier. I really, really like Evan Hull and the value they got, and I think he could come in and take some of the pressure that Jonathan Taylor had on him last year trying to carry the Colts with a crappy quarterback situation. You see what happens when you don't have a quarterback and you're pounding your superstar running back into the dirt. Injuries happen. Look where they're at now. So, with me, I thought it was a B grade for the Colts. I really liked Julius Brents, like you said, and I really also liked Blake Freeland. After that, it's kind of, we'll wait and see till year 3 to me. So, with that being said, a B is my grade for your Indianapolis Colts here.
Yeah. One player I forgot to mention here, and I was the whole time you were talking, I was trying to figure out how to say his name, but one of the guys that I really thought was a great pick and a great value for the Colts, which made it an A for me, was Ademiwa Adewari.
Here we go. He's
Northwestern. That's a tough one. But as a 4th rounder, I thought he was going to be maybe sneaking to the late first, second round. Yeah. They got him in the 4th round. Extremely fast, strong, athletic, defensive lineman. So I think that I forgot to mention, so I wanted to bring it up. But yeah, for me, that's an A. Let's move on to the next one, which should be kind of short. They didn't have a lot of picks. The Titans. And for me, the Titans were a B. Yeah. I know they didn't have a lot of picks, but I think number one need was getting, and I know they have him listed here as a guard, but I think because of his shorter arms, he may play guard at some point. Maybe they move him to guard once if they draft another tackle, maybe next year or the year after that. But I think Soronsky was one of the guys that was the most, definitely not the most athletic coming out of Northwestern, but definitely the most well-rounded lineman. The shorter arms kind of limit him, and that's probably why people were kind of a little bit down on him, even though he went 11 overall. But, obviously they got Will Levis. I'm not a huge Will Levis fan. Obviously the Titans were. They moved up to get him in the 2nd round. Tajay Spears, I think, could be. I'm a little worried about his usage dynasty wise. It's one of the steals of the draft in the third round. I know maybe it's maybe a little bit earlier than people thought he was going to go, being a smaller running back. But for me, he's probably runs a lot bigger than he is. So for me, the Titans got to be not too flashy, but they did definitely address their needs.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this was one of my least favorite. I didn't like how they worked this draft. Okay, like they started off great. They addressed the offensive line need there. Definitely needed to upgrade that line because Tannehill was not looking so hot last year, and
And
neither
Lewan
was
was hurt too for most of the
yeah
year, so that
yeah.
definitely there was definitely a need.
Absolutely. I like what they did there. They didn't freak out about Levis. They still got him in the second. Okay, so for me, Will Levis is our dynasty target here out of, for the Tennessee Titans. You can probably get him, early to mid second round is my grade on Will Levis for actually dynasty drafts. So look for him there. Tajay Spears, same thing. You're going to look for him early to mid second. I think he comes off the board there. Please don't overdraft this guy into the first round. I don't see him being a first rounder. Neither one of them. You need to wait till the second on both these guys. For me, when you have a guy like Will Levis and you move up to get him in the second, it's not a huge risk, but I think potentially franchise-wise, if you want to put some butts in the seats there in Tennessee, you take a guy like Hendon Hooker, a guy that everyone in Tennessee wanted. You didn't have to overpay for him. Could have waited, kept your picks. They gave up quite a bit moving up in the second round. And then instead of picking Tajay Spears, you go get a bigger need at wide receiver. Please tell me why you feel it's safe for them to go into the season next year as Westbrook Akini or Kyle Phillips as a wide receiver 2 for that team. Everyone's going to see that and triple team Traylon Burks. I just thought it was, they could have done so much better in this draft after the Skoronski pick, but they totally nosedived. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, Will Levis was a top 5 pick. Yeah, Will Levis was a top 5 pick that had more interceptions than Hendon Hooker could ever even dream of in college. So you have an interception monster in college, and you're going to throw him to the Wolves his first year here in Tennessee with no wide receivers except Traylon Burks? What are you guys doing over there? You need to wake up and at least feed off what your fans are begging you to get. Go get your hometown guys. You could even pick Cedric Tillman. I mean, one of the worst second halves of the draft that I've seen for a team that had it in the bag and blew it. Way to go, Titans. C+.
That was good. No, I completely agree with you. I've said it a lot. When you get 90 yards against Vanderbilt, nothing against Vanderbilt, but I don't know how people thought he was a top 5 quarterback. But anyways, let's move on.
I'm sorry. It's the passing on Jalen Hyatt. They could have had him in the third. What do you
They
guys
could have got
doing?
Hooker. They could have had High. I agree. As a
Why?
Tennessee fan, I
Why?
felt disrespected.
Terrible.
But I don't know. Maybe the injury kind of made them shy away from that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think at this point they need to kind of shift their philosophy when it comes to running the ball. I think they need to be a little more balanced and maybe even use more than one running back. I know Henry's a beast, but he's getting up there in age. He's not going to last forever. And right now, everything depends on what happens with Henry. So, and if we look at the Lakers, I know we're talking about football, but they're trying to force feed AD the ball. We see what happens yesterday. He has a bad game, or the game before that, he has a bad game, and the team kind of falls apart because they're trying to force feed him the ball, and he's trying to make plays that he shouldn't be making. So, anyways, I don't want to go too deep into basketball, but I just wanted to say that I think their philosophy needs to change a little bit. And maybe try to build a little bit more balanced attack on the offensive side. I agree with you. But with that being said, Burks draft stock just probably, or not draft stock, but trade value just went up because they didn't draft they drafted a wide receiver in the 7th round, and Burks is going to get a bunch of targets. So, I guess some people are happy about that. Next, we have your Houston Texans.
Here we go.
We both agreed here that it is going to be an A-. And I think it could have been, I guess in my opinion, it could have been, I mean, A- is nothing to sneeze at, but I think it could have been maybe an A or an A+. And I'll get to that in a second, but I think getting Stroud 2nd overall, they kind of made the best out of a bad situation. They were literally a play away from being having the number 1 pick. They lost the right to choose number 1 and potentially draft Bryce Young. Maybe Stroud was their guy all along, and it doesn't matter. Moving up to get Will Anderson, they have Stroud. Now they have Anderson, 2 cornerstones, both on the offense and defensive side. The only reason for me that it is an A- is, in my opinion, they should have traded the Browns' 1st-round pick instead of their own. With that being said, their team looks a lot better, especially after the draft. Free agency has been good to them, and the draft is really, really good. I really like their draft, so maybe they're betting on themselves, and maybe they think that the Browns' pick's going to be worse than their pick. If that's the case, then maybe it should be an A or an A+. I really like Tank Dell. Reminds me of Deshaun Watson a little bit. Kind of small, fast, very, very good after the run. Very versatile, punt returner, kick returner. I think Henry To'oTo'o is extremely talented, a little bit overlooked because of his athletic ability. He's not one of those athletic freaks numbers are going to jump off the board. But I think, at Tennessee, trader for leaving Alabama, but at Tennessee, he made all kinds of plays as a true freshman, went to Alabama, started right away, extremely productive, very consistent, nothing, kind of jumps off the page as far as athleticism, but he can get the job done. He's a football player. Another player that I really, really like is Xavier Hutchinson. I think he, going in the 6th round, is extremely good value. He's a playmaker. He can really, really do a lot when it comes to the offense. Very reliable hands, very good with the ball in his hands. And I'm a little surprised, as maybe you were, that he went in the 6th round. Overall, from top to bottom, I think they had a lot of needs. Even though they had a good free agency, they had a lot of needs. They addressed all of them. And I think the move from moving back up to 3rd overall to get Will Anderson is probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen in the draft ever happen. It's Madden-esque. So for me, it's an A-.
Love it, man. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. You really hit on everything that, I really wanted to let shine on the Texans. So with that being said, we both have the same grade here. What I really liked is about, my Houston Texans. We're excited, man. All the years we had to sit through all the BS after all the stuff that Bill O'Brien just completely dismantled our franchise. It was so sad to see them, man. It was sad to see them trade Hopkins off. It was sad to see our Hall of Fame defensive end, J.J. Watt, get released. Like, you can't even get anything for a guy who has won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't get it, man. I was not excited at all. It seems like the curse of the Hopkins trade, it was the downfall of the Texans, man. It was just like, why do a boneheaded move like that, So for me, I'm not going to go too much into the past. We're looking at the future now, baby. We're looking at the newly led D'Amico Ryans coming at you fast and furious, just like you've seen the San Francisco 49ers the past couple years get after it on defense. So, let's start at the top. C.J. Stroud, get your franchise quarterback. Really love the pick. That's an A-plus pick for me. Don't let the quarterback fall anymore. Then you devalue the 3rd-round pick. You come back up and you snatch Will Anderson so you don't overpay for C.J. Stroud. You snatch another cornerstone for your franchise. So now let's think about it. You got 3 franchise cornerstones because you took one last year. You got Derek Stingley Jr., C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson Jr., and we hit on Jalen Petrie. That team, oh my gosh, bro. And we re-signed our left tackle. We put him at the forefront. So we're keeping our new guy up here. We're keeping Stroud up. We're keeping him going. We're keeping him looking like he did at Ohio State. So, next I want to hit on, Will Anderson. Snatched him two-time beast on the defense. Dude just setting all kinds of standards at Alabama. Dude came in, wrecked shop. The past 2 years, there wasn't a better person that you could even want on defense. So we get him. Juice Scruggs, major reach for me. I thought we could have got him in the 4th round. Didn't like that move there. Sorry, Juice. I have heard great things of reports coming out of camp that you are looking good there. Love the H-Town pick here in Tank Dell. Really small, shifty wide receiver that we could use in the slot. Nico Collins, John Mechie, Tank Dell, and Robert Woods. We got us a nice little foursome there. I really liked Henry To'oTo'o, and I loved Jarrett Patterson. I thought that was tremendous value. This guy was going in the 3rd to 2nd round for me of mock drafts. I thought grabbing him there. I actually liked him better than the Juice Scruggs pick, to be honest. I mean, Notre Dame has a tendency to pump out great offensive linemen in the NFL. And last but not least, Xavier Hutchinson, baby. This guy right here, dude, I think for sure he sneaks onto the field his first year. And I feel like you could get him probably in the 4th or 5th round in your draft just because he fell so far. And you stash him until next year. C.J. Stroud for me is the top 5 to maybe 8 pick in your drafts. I don't see him going anywhere past 8 or 9. And Tank Dell, maybe late 2nd. That's where I'm feeling on him just because of his landing spots. So, and the Texans are a little crowded at wide receiver right now. So, not superstar wise, but younger wise. But with that being said, guys, A- for my grade here for the Houston Texans. And how you think we did on our grades here for the AFC South, Manny?
I like him. I like them all. I think the Texans by far are the team that kind of hit it out of the park. They address a lot of their needs. They have a lot of exciting players coming into Houston, and I think considering how they did in free agency with the guys they got out of a lot of guys from San Francisco, that were coached by Ryan. I think there's a chance that the Texans might be a playoff team. Maybe on the verge of getting a wild card. The AFC South is definitely wide open. The Colts have a good team, but the downfall for the last couple of years has been quarterback. I guess we'll see what happens. How Richardson develops and how long that takes to happen. But I think the Texans have a good shot to kind of shock the world. I know Jacksonville made huge strides last year, so maybe it isn't 100% wide open, but it's definitely, you can't say it's the weakest conference anymore, for sure, or the weakest division rather.
Absolutely. Hey guys, if you guys haven't, please like and subscribe. We're almost to 50 subscribers. We'd really like to get there and then hit our next milestone, which is 100, and keep going, man. We want to blow this channel through the roof. So, guys, thank you for following us, being on this journey with us. All we're trying to do is bring you all the information we can, get you ready for your Dynasty Football drafts. And, as always, guys, like every time we come on down, Dynasty Football out.